you can see in the workplace, for example, the notion that when a person is up for promotion, very simple process. They can have an MBA, a PhD, etc., and the counterpart is white. The way that the experience is valued, the way that the competencies are valued or devalued can come into play. They can come into play when I walk into a courtroom. The way that a judge, in a subtle context, views either me or my capacity to handle a case, or views my client. And in particular in the criminal system, criminal justice system, in particular with juries. It's why there's such an, I guess it's powerful. In the jury selection process, there is a war that takes place in many jurisdictions where blacks are excluded from juries because they think that they'll be sympathetic to the cause of a black defendant. And in predominantly white juries where the presumption or stereotype is that this person is guilty, and what it does, it creates an implication of guilt that actually prevails in many situations, but it also creates an enormous and oftentimes insurmountable burden for the black defendant, and especially in federal cases where the likelihood of a conviction creates then a higher risk that creates then what? A logical outcome of I have to plea in order to minimize my exposure, even in a situation where a person is innocent. Because that's where racism is, I think, pervasive, and there's very little sensitivity. And it also, quite frankly, and quite disturbingly, includes the sentiment of judges. And a lot of people won't say that at the state and local levels especially, and sometimes at the federal level where there's a greater sensitivity, but where there's a bias. And that bias, to your question, is where the subtlety comes in. And it's not really addressed, as much in the system. So it's allowed to grow.